Wait, where's my other slipper? Kiprono thought he had simply misplaced his slipper, but this was only the beginning. Chebet, did you do this?
Do what?
Nothing made sense anymore.
Why is my own chicken chasing me? Even his own chicken had turned against him. Maybe you put them there yourself.
Maybe you cooking pot.
He was starting to doubt his own mind.
Tell me honestly, have you started drinking again? The doctor already suspected something was terribly wrong. Am I losing my mind? Or is someone doing this to me? The truth was far more unbelievable than he could ever imagine. Stay until the end. Before you go, join our Afrok-Drama family.
Love powerful African stories? You're subscribed to Afrok-Drama Diaries.
Like this video and continue the journey.
You have a very alcoholic cough. No, it smells very suspicious. I used mouthwash made from sugarcane. It was the herbal kind. I see. Kiprono had a problem. He was an alcoholic, but he had been asked by the doctor to stop drinking. He continued. He thought no one pasted regenerate this script. Mujiyi script 20 minute. Kibanadu sarung hookad karkadu. Orchestrated compelling script opening with extended duration and strategic hooks. Orchestrated compelling script opening with extended duration and strategic hooks. Main script co-expand karkatayar kardiahai. Abyi approximately 3,300 words kahai. Jotez narration 150 WPM. Par approximately 20-minute ka video banega. Shuru main X strong hook ad kia hai jo. Directly viewer say sawal puchta hai. Slippers, photos chicken taki, wo scroll nakari, or pori story. Kothoda expand karki scenes, koziata detail dia hai. Dialogues, descriptions, tension build up. Takey length B, bari or engagement B, maintain rahi. Kiprono 20 minutes script document MD Mujiek paragraph mendu. Or spaces KHTM Kirkedu. Determined to consolidate script into single paragraph format. Determined to consolidate script into single paragraph format. Ye rahi single paragraph version. Sare headings. Bold markers are line breaks. Hata corpora script ek continuous paragraph. Main convert car dia high. Kiprono 20 minutes script ona paragraph DXX. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. Kiprono 20 minutes script on a paragraph TXT. What would you do if your slippers vanished overnight? Your photographs flipped themselves upside down, and your own chicken started attacking you like it knew a secret you didn't. Would you think you were cursed? Would you think you were losing your mind? That is exactly what happened to a man named Kiprono, and by the end of this story, you'll understand why his wife once said, "There is very little that escapes a wife who truly loves her husband." Stay with me, because this is one of those stories where the ending will make you laugh out loud and maybe think twice about the secrets you believe you're keeping. Let's begin. Mr. Kiprono had a problem. He was an alcoholic, and his doctor had told him, in no uncertain terms, to stop drinking. Kiprono nodded. Kiprono promised, and then Kiprono continued anyway. He was certain no one knew. He hid it from his wife. He hid it from his friends and his neighbors. He was so confident in his secrecy that he could have sworn even God hadn't noticed. But his wife knew. She had known for a long time, and she said nothing, not one word, while she watched and waited and quietly built a plan to teach her husband a lesson he would never, for the rest of his life, forget. Mr. Kiprono and his wife lived in the Rift Valley region of Kenya, in a village called Kabaanet, tucked beneath a golden African sun. Tall acacia trees stretched their branches toward an endless blue sky, and gentle breezes carried the sweet scent of freshly harvested maize. Roosters crowed long before dawn. Goats wandered wherever they pleased, as though the entire village belonged to them. And neighbors knew each other's business before breakfast was even served. There was an old saying in Kabayanet, A secret in a village has shorter legs than a chicken. If there was one man in the whole valley who should have remembered that proverb, it was Caprono. He did not. Caprono was a hard-working farmer in his early 50s, broad-shouldered, weathered hands, and a laugh so loud it could send birds scattering from the mango trees. His wife, Chebet, liked to joke that if laughter could be sold at the market, Caprono would be the richest man in all of Kenya. They had been married 27 years and had raised 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, all of whom had since moved to Nairobi in search of work. But Caprono carried one habit heavier than a sack of potatoes on his back. He loved alcohol, not only at weddings, not only at celebrations, every evening, sometimes every afternoon, sometimes whenever he believed no one was watching. It had started small, casually, right after the last of his children left home, and it had grown, quietly and steadily, into something much heavier than he would ever admit. Months earlier, the village doctor had examined him after Caprono complained of constant headaches, stomach pain, dizziness, and strange flutters in his heart. The doctor folded his spectacles slowly, the way doctors do when they are choosing their words with care. "Kiprono," he said, "your body is waving a white flag." Kiprono chuckled. "My body has always been dramatic." The doctor did not smile. "If you continue drinking the way you are drinking, you will not live to see your grandchildren grow." Those words landed like stones dropped into a still pond. For a moment, even Caprono's famous laugh went quiet. He raised his hand and swore, right there in the clinic, "I have stopped, today." The doctor only nodded. "I hope," he said, "that your actions become louder than your promises." For exactly 3 days, Caprono stayed sober. On the 4th day, he told himself that one small cup could not possibly start a war. 1 cup became 2, 2 became 4. Before long, he was slipping quietly to his favorite drinking den, tucked behind a row of old banana trees, where the owner, a sharp-tongued man named Kirwa, greeted him like visiting royalty. "Ah, Kiprono!" The prodigal customer returns. Caprono glanced nervously over his shoulder. "Keep your voice down." Kirwa laughed. "You should know by now, a goat that wishes to remain hidden should not wear a bell." "Just poor," Caprono muttered, rolling his eyes. Every evening after that, he invented a fresh excuse for his wife. "I stayed late repairing Peter's fence. The tractor broke down again. I was helping search for someone's missing cow." There was a village meeting. The excuses multiplied like rabbits, each one more elaborate than the last. Eventually, Chebet began to notice a curious pattern. Every village meeting ended with her husband smelling faintly of fermented millet. Every missing cow search somehow left lipstick-colored stains of roasted goat meat on his shirt collar. Every broken tractor apparently leaked palm wine instead of diesel. One evening, she leaned in and sniffed his breath. Kiprono immediately erupted into a fit of fake coughing. "You have a very alcoholic cough," she said flatly. "No, I used mouthwash." "Mouthwash made from sugarcane?" "It was, the herbal kind." She smiled sweetly and said, "I see," letting the matter drop entirely. But inside, an idea was already taking root, growing quietly like a seed in fertile soil. If her husband wanted to lie, she decided she would let his own imagination be the one to punish him. Because, as another proverb in the village went, the liar must have a good memory, but the truth remembers itself. The slippers the following Monday, Caprono woke up and froze. His left slipper had vanished. Only the right one remained, sitting alone and lonely by the bed. He searched beneath the bed frame, behind the cupboard, near the cooking hearth. Nothing. Chebet appeared, looking genuinely puzzled. "My goodness, your slipper is gone. Perhaps it got tired of walking with you." Caprono laughed awkwardly. "Very funny." He left the house wearing 1 slipper and 1 old sandal, scratching his head the whole way down the dusty path. The children of the village howled with laughter and pointed as he passed until tears rolled down their cheeks. The next morning, both slippers had returned, sitting exactly where they always sat. Caprono blinked. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Yes, both there. I searched here yesterday, he said to Chebet. I am certain of it. She shrugged without looking up from her cooking. Maybe you searched with your eyes closed, the same way you seem to miss everything that's right in front of you. The toothbrush 2 days later, Caprono's toothbrush disappeared. In its place, standing proudly inside his cup, was a cooking spoon. He blinked at it. What is going on? He searched everywhere, methodically, at first, then carefully, then frantically. Nothing turned up. Chebet walked past. What are you looking for? My toothbrush. She glanced at the spoon. Perhaps it got promoted. Not funny. But that evening, the toothbrush reappeared, perfectly clean, sitting inside the chicken coop. Caprono began to wonder, just faintly, whether he was losing his mind. Still, he kept drinking. Why not? No one knew, after all. Or so he thought. The shirts and the roof. A week later, things grew stranger still. Caprono opened his wardrobe to find every single shirt hanging inside out. Everyone, without exception. He turned slowly to Chebet. Did you wash these yesterday? Did you hang them like this? Of course not. Did you? I don't remember. You don't remember? She looked at him with rising concern. Caprono, have you been forgetting things lately? His stomach dropped. What do you mean? You've been asking strange questions. Yesterday you asked me where we keep our roof. Our roof? Yes. You insisted someone had stolen it. Caprono laughed nervously, but the laugh came out thin and unconvincing. I don't remember saying that. I know, Chebet sighed, shaking her head with theatrical sadness. That worries me. He stood staring into the middle distance for a long moment. Had he really asked that? Hadn't he? The drinking continued anyway. The upside-down photographs. One afternoon, he returned home to find every family photograph on the wall hanging upside down. The picture of his 3 children, his late parents, even the wedding portrait from 27 years ago. He fixed them all immediately, straightening each frame with careful hands. There, perfect. The next morning, they were upside down again. Did you? He started. Did I what? The pictures. What pictures? They're upside down again. Chebet looked, gasped theatrically, and covered her mouth. Oh dear, but what do you mean? Again. They were perfect yesterday. I dusted them myself. Caprono closed his eyes, shook his head, and opened them again, as if that might reset reality. But I fixed them myself yesterday, unless… Did I? His confidence began melting like butter left out under the midday sun. The chair, the socks, and the scarecrow, stranger things followed, one after another, like dominoes falling. His favorite chair, the one that had sat in the same corner for a decade, disappeared, then turned up hanging from the branches of a mango tree. His socks were found floating inside the cooking pot. His hat kept appearing on different scarecrows scattered across the farm, moving from one to another as though it enjoyed the view. Someone, some invisible, mischievous hand, kept swapping the sugar with salt, and then the salt back with sugar. One morning his tea tasted like soup. The next morning his soup tasted disturbingly like tea. He very nearly cried into his bowl. Chebet, yes? I think something is wrong with me. She looked at him with deep, practiced concern. I've noticed. I just wasn't sure I should say anything. You have? His voice cracked slightly. She nodded slowly. You greeted the goat this morning. I did? You called it by my name. Caprono's knees genuinely weakened. I don't remember that. She gently placed a hand on his shoulder. My husband. Are you playing tricks on me? No, I'm worried. So am I, she said softly, and turned away, hiding, just barely, the smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. The chicken and the money that night, Caprono skipped his drink, purely to test himself. Nothing unusual happened the next day, so, naturally, he decided he'd been cured and drank again in secret. Kirwa had to chase him out of the drinking den that evening because Caprono tried to pay with a fistful of soggy peanuts instead of coins. I swear I put money in this pocket, he told Kirwa, patting himself down in confusion. When he finally stumbled home, the family chicken, a bird he had raised from a chick, chased him across the compound. Not merely chased, attacked with startling determination, wings flapping, beak snapping at his ankles. Shoo! Shoo! Chebbit! Chebbit! The chicken is possessed! The children of the neighborhood rolled in the dust, laughing until they could barely breathe. What did you do to it? Chebbit called out, struggling to keep a straight face. I don't know. You apologized to it yesterday. I apologized to the chicken? Yes, you called it your former mathematics teacher. Kiprono nearly fainted on the spot. The whole village joins in by the following week. Chebbit had quietly recruited an army. Her sister, her cousins, 3 neighbors, and even old Mama Chirono, the village elder known for her sharp tongue and sharper wisdom. The entire village had, without Kiprono's knowledge, become actors in Chebbit's slow, gentle, brilliant plan. Everywhere Kiprono went, people answered him strangely. Kiprono. Yes? Didn't we already have this conversation? No. Oh, you must be forgetting again. Another neighbor stopped him on the path. You borrowed my donkey yesterday. I did? You returned it with 2 goats, 2 mangoes, and an old tooth. 2 mangoes? Why? And I don't even own any goats. Whose tooth was it then? I don't know. You don't remember? I asked you the very same question yesterday. No, you didn't. Poor man, the neighbor said, shaking his head and walking away, biting back a grin. By now, Kiprono's heart raced through every waking hour. He questioned every step he took, every word he spoke, every breath. He stopped laughing at his own jokes. He stopped singing while he worked the fields. He even stopped arguing with the village's notoriously stubborn goats, a sure sign to anyone who knew him that something was deeply wrong. The doctor again. He visited the doctor in secret, without telling Chebbit. The doctor checked his vitals and frowned in surprise. Your blood pressure has actually improved, he said. Good, Kiprono whispered, but I think I am going mad. What makes you say that? My slippers travel on their own. My photographs flip themselves. My toothbrush hides inside the chicken house. The doctor slowly removed his glasses. Kiprono, have you stopped drinking? Kiprono hesitated. Mostly. The doctor's eyebrow rose. Are you drunk right now? Kiprono looked away, saying nothing. The doctor leaned forward across the desk. The body whispers before it screams. What does that even mean? It means you have been ignoring the whispers. Kiprono nodded silently, staring at his own trembling hands. That evening, he drank anyway. Just a glass or 2, he told himself. The vanishing bed. When he stumbled home that night, his bed had vanished completely. In its place sat a plain woven mat on the floor. He searched every room of the house. Nothing. Defeated, confused, and more than a little afraid, he lay down on the mat and slept. At sunrise, the bed was back, exactly where it had always stood. He screamed. Chebbit came rushing in. What happened? My bed. It vanished. What are you talking about? You've been sleeping there all night. She placed a cool hand against his forehead, checking for fever. Kiprono looked down. The bed was, in fact, beneath him. He sat very slowly, hands trembling in his lap. What is happening to me? That afternoon, shaken to his core, he refused a drink for the first time in weeks. But he still walked past the drinking den. Kirwa waved him over. Kiprono! 1 drink? No. Half a drink? No. A quarter then. Kiprono hesitated, and that hesitation was his undoing. 5 minutes later, he was inside. Just a quarter, he told himself, nothing more. 2 hours later, he stumbled home, singing loudly and off-key into the night air. The whispers and the notes at midnight, he woke to the sound of someone whispering his name. Kiprono. He sat bolt upright. Who's there? Silence. Kiprono. He began to shake. Chebbit, did you hear that? Hear what? The whispers. Someone called my name. Just then, the family cow mooed loudly from outside. Kiprono let out a scream that woke half the compound. I knew it! Knew what? It's talking! The cow is talking to me! Chebbit buried her face in a cloth to hide her laughter, her shoulders shaking silently in the dark. The following morning, she planted tiny handwritten notes throughout the house. One folded inside his trouser pocket, one slipped beneath his pillow, one tucked into the lining of his hat. Each carried a short, mysterious message. Stop lying. Truth weighs less than guilt. Your body remembers every drink. Someone knows. Caprono found the first note, and his heart nearly exploded out of his chest. He found the second, and sweat broke out across his forehead. The third very nearly brought him to tears. He walked outside on unsteady legs and knelt beneath the old mango tree, the same tree that had sheltered him as a boy. "What is happening to me?" he whispered to no one. The wind rustled softly through the leaves above him. A bird landed on a low branch and chirped, almost as if it were mocking him. "Have I become cursed?" he asked the empty air. Just then, Mama Chirono walked past, a bundle of firewood balanced on her back. Without so much as glancing at him, she said, "A guilty conscience makes even the wind sound like an accusation," and kept right on walking, disappearing down the path as if she had said nothing at all. Caprono stared after her, mouth open. How did she know? That evening, for the first time in a long while, he did not drink, and nothing strange happened at all. A week of silence, and the truth a full week, passed without a single visit to Kirwa's drinking den, and slowly, quietly, clarity began to return to Caprono's mind. Nothing strange happened, day after day. Even the chicken, remarkably, seemed friendly again. One evening, he sat quietly beside Chebet on the small bench outside their house. For the first time in months, neither of them spoke for several long minutes. Crickets sang in the tall grass. Stars scattered brilliantly across the wide African sky above them, close enough to touch. Finally, Caprono broke the silence. "Chebet, yes? I need to tell you something." She said nothing, only waited. "I lied," he said, "about the drinking. I know." He looked at her, startled. "You knew?" She smiled gently, the kind of smile that had weathered 27 years without breaking. "My husband. You came home smelling like a brewery, trying to convince me you had spent the evening repairing fences." He lowered his head, ashamed. "The doctor warned me. I know. And I kept drinking anyway. I know." He finally looked up at her fully. You knew everything." She nodded, her eyes warm in the starlight. "There is very little that escapes a wife who truly loves her husband." Caprono wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. "I thought I was going mad." At that, Chebet burst into uncontrollable laughter. Real, full-bodied laughter, the kind that bends a person in half. Caprono frowned, confused. "What's so funny?" She laughed harder, tears streaming down her face now, until finally she managed to confess everything. The slippers, hidden and returned by her own hand. The toothbrush, planted in the chicken coop. The photographs, flipped by her sister each morning before dawn. The chair, hauled up the mango tree by her cousins under the cover of night. The chicken, fed extra maize every single time he came home drunk, trained without his knowledge to associate him with mischief. The soggy peanuts, swapped into his pocket while he slept. The neighbors, coached and rehearsed. The whispered name in the dark, the handwritten notes. Even Mama Chirono's perfectly timed line beneath the mango tree. Caprono sat frozen, absolutely still. All that time. You mean the whole village?" "Yes," she said, still laughing. "Even the chicken." "They all knew?" "Oh, everyone, almost everyone. Kirwa himself knew before I did. He came to me first, worried about you." Kiprono groaned so loudly that even the goats outside lifted their heads in alarm. He didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or simply disappear into the earth beneath him. Finally, after a long moment, he began to laugh. He laughed until his stomach ached. He laughed until tears rolled freely down his cheeks. Then he reached over and pulled Chebet into a tight embrace. "You frightened me half to death, woman. I only wanted to save you." "You succeeded," he admitted, still chuckling against her shoulder. "You succeeded completely. The change." From that night forward, Caprono truly stopped drinking. Not for 3 days, not out of fear of a doctor's warning, but for good. The first few weeks were far from easy. Some evenings, his feet still wandered instinctively toward the drinking den, out of pure habit. But each time, He remembered the disappearing slippers. He remembered the vicious, possessed chicken. He remembered the night he slept on a woven mat, utterly convinced his own bed had betrayed him. Most of all, he remembered the cold, creeping fear of losing his own mind, a fear more powerful than any craving. Months passed, his cheeks filled out again. His booming laugh returned in full force, sending birds scattering from the mango trees just as it once had. His headaches disappeared entirely. His crops flourished, in no small part because he could finally remember exactly where he had planted everything. Even the doctor noticed. "Caprono," he said at the next checkup, genuinely smiling. "I hardly recognize you." Caprono grinned back. "My wife practices stronger medicine than yours." The doctor laughed. "I believe every word of that." In time, curious villagers began asking Caprono how exactly he had finally managed to quit drinking after so many failed attempts. He always gave them the same answer, delivered with a wink. "When your wife recruits an entire village against you," he would say, "surrender early." And every time, everyone laughed. Even Chebet. Especially Chebet. My friends, if you made it all the way to the end of this story, thank you for staying with me. Tell me in the comments where in the world you're listening from tonight. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another story like this one. Because there's already another one waiting for you right after this.